Hey, welcome to the Elle Russ Show, where we explore ways to get healthy, wealthy, and wise. With a combination of guest interviews and solo episodes, I hope you will be inspired and motivated to become the best of whatever you are. I'm Elle Russ, #1 best-selling author and subject expert with over a decade of helping thousands of people across the globe. Visit my website, elleruss.com, to learn more about free guides, masterclasses, online courses, and more. Enjoy the show. All right, everyone. Today, a repeat offender. It's been a while since I've spoken to her, but we have Holly Perkins on the show today, and this is the go-to expert for all things women's fitness and health. She is the author of Lift to Get Lean, which is basically a modern strength training Bible for women. She has amazing programs, several of which I already have on my iPhone, including something called the Glutes Project, and we'll talk about a few other programs she has, because for those of you that might be tuning in and you're on your journey to becoming optimized and balanced with your thyroid, but you just shouldn't, exercise a lot, but you're looking to do something because you don't want to feel like you're doing nothing. Holly has the perfect thing for you too. So stay tuned. And everything that you need to create the body you want, Holly can talk to us about. Welcome back, I should say, although I think it was the other show you were on.
Yeah, it was. Yep, it was. And thank you. I'm super, super excited to do this.
You've been doing this a long time. You've had a lot of celebrity clients, including like Howard Stern and Billy Crystal. I mean, big people. You know what you're talking about. Women's Health went to you and was like, let's do this. You've got another book coming out in a year and a half or so. And you have all of these programs for everyone to get healthy. But for those who don't know, because, if you looked at your website, someone would go, well, she just looks like the perfect celebrity trainer and never suffered. Talk a little bit about how you got into it, and then the suffering that was silently behind the body, or, what?
Yeah. So, oh my gosh, so many things there. So yes, I've been in the fitness and nutrition industry for 30 years. I have a degree in exercise physiology and nutrition from Pennsylvania State University. I'm a certified strength and conditioning specialist, and I've been in practice for 30 years. So I think that is something that makes me unique after so many years of studying your craft. You really start to develop a different, ability to serve people and help people. And I'm just I feel so lucky that I've loved my career and done this for so long. And I feel like after 30 years, I'm only just hitting my stride now, hilariously. But my personal story is that I stumbled into fitness unbeknownst to me at the time, as an antidepressant. And so as a youngster, I didn't know it at the time, but I really struggled with symptoms of depression. And the only time in my life where I felt amazing was when I would exercise. And there was born my career. What I didn't know for, the majority of my adult life up until about my early 40s, which was about 10 years ago now, there was a thyroid issue and an autoimmune disorder at play that never really got diagnosed. So because of my lifestyle choices, my diet, my strength training, my fitness, I think I was able to mask a lot of those symptoms until perimenopause really sucker punched me in my early 40s. There too, I didn't really know what was happening, but around the age of 44, the rug got pulled out from underneath me. And ultimately the trigger was that I was living in a moldy apartment, and it triggered dormant Lyme disease, which I never even knew that I had, destroyed my thyroid, which you and I have talked about a number of times. And it really just brought me to my knees. So without going into that too much, it's been about eight years of really getting that resolved. And part of it was because of a decline in estrogen in the early 40s. But it was also really getting crystal clear on my thyroid dysfunction and getting myself medicated appropriately alongside of the lifestyle choices that go with it. So I really, at the risk of sounding melodramatic and or phony vulnerability, if you will, I really struggled for the past 8 to 10 years to get a handle on what it was. And now that I'm on the other side of it, I'm able to see how much it served me in terms of being a better coach for women because, oh my gosh, so many women are struggling with a lot of these symptoms.
Mhm. Yeah, this is a common when people are coming to me with thyroid, I'm always like, well, how old are you? You know what I mean? And like
Yeah.
right when we establish that, because it's a double thing if you're in your 40s and you have hypothyroidism or you're like going through menopause and you have it, because it's like which symptoms from what, which could,
Yeah.
and you've got to biohack the whole thing together. What a nightmare, right? Um, and no, I appreciate the vulnerability. Like it doesn't take away from all of the things that you offer and who you are. It actually just adds to it to be able to coach people on it. And I give a good, I don't know about you and when you work with younger women, but I'm always like, hey, check yourself around age 42. You might need to
Yep.
start testosterone. Like you don't like look out for these things after, like,
Yeah.
and I think in hindsight, I would have started things earlier and
Yep.
maybe you feel the same way too. So yes, ladies, learn everything you can as you approach 40 about what's going to happen to you in your 40s, because the sooner you catch it, right, the better.
Mhm.
But what a great lesson. We have a quote from you in my book, and when I've interviewed before, you talked about that the depression and having it be related to things that again, unbeknownst to you, were coming through to the surface, and how um our life with toxins. And you are again someone who shouldn't have been a victim of that, doing all the perfect things. And sometimes you do all those things, and you can still be a victim of living in a place with bad mold and having to crawl your way out of it.
Mhm.
Um, Let's talk about because it's fun, because everyone is going to want to know about the celebrity personal training over the years before we start getting into the serious stuff. um,
Yeah.
let's talk a little bit about that. That's so fun. What an honor. Not that they're not just people like us, but it is something to be said, right? If you are a person wanting to be in the fitness industry, like kind of one of the dream goals is I would like some celebrity
Mm.
clients. So
Mhm.
tell us what you can without dishing any, but tell us a little bit about just that.
Yeah. So, and I agree. Like it has always felt like a real honor when I get the phone call. And agreed. It's like celebrities have the luxury to work with the best and whomever they want for the most part, barring logistics and geography. Um, so I feel like I've been lucky in that regard. And early on in my career, I worked in New York City as a personal trainer, and that really was what started my, I guess, reputation, if you will, with some of the celebrities. So early on, when I worked with Howard Stern and Julia Roberts and Natasha Richardson,
Wow.
Courtney
Sorry for
Loves.
your loss on Natasha. Wasn't Natasha?
I know that one was brutal. Um, so that really started my career in terms of working with celebrities. And then it's kind of like once the word gets out, then people call you. And so I really found that after that, honestly, I think I was at the right time at the right place and had the right skills to then open up that opportunity to work with these incredible people. One of my favorite people still to this day is Howard Stern. He's an amazing human. Love and adore him. Um, yeah, so over the years, I just would continue to get the phone calls and worked with Adrian Grenier for a number of years, love and adore him. Karlie Kloss for a number of years. And it just kind of grew from there. And then, around COVID time, I really shifted how I did business. So for a number of years, I was an in-person, in the gym personal trainer, which I absolutely loved. But it's got its limitations. And I really wanted to just shift how I was serving the world. It was at the time when my first book published, Lift to Get Lean, as you mentioned, with Women's Health Magazine. And it was at that time that I really created a digital and virtual way of working with people. And so then during COVID, I completely shifted my practice online. And so it's a lot less of the typical like in the gym trainer, but as you said, it's absolutely right. It's kind of like the holy grail for a trainer is to get to work with celebrities. And I definitely feel like it's been such a gift and I loved it. And in many ways, I feel fortunate because it has certainly set me up with an incredible career.
And I think what probably you would say would be true, at least in my experience here in Hollywood and, having been exposed to all of this as well, is that even when you have the money and you can afford Holly to come to your house, the reason you're paying her to come to your house is because sometimes motivation's tough. Can we just talk about the thoroughfare that everyone's the same here? Sometimes I remember Gabby Reese, when I interviewed her, she was like, look, I'm an athlete and I sometimes struggle daily to do the workout.
Oh, yeah.
So let's talk about some of the, right? We're all the same just because they're hiring you. We have
Yep.
all the same issues. Talk about some of the commonalities and some of the classics you see along the way that are holding people back or some mindsets regarding what's possible with fitness.
Yeah, I mean, I think I just want to really underscore everything that you said. It's so human to struggle with motivation. We all do. And honestly, I believe that's why the personal training industry exists. Fitness doesn't have to be that complicated. And um, a big reason I know over the years why my clients hired me, it was because it was an appointment. And if they had it and they were paying me money, they would show up. And if they were going to do that, well, then they better get the most out of it. It really was way more about that than what they needed from my brain or from my strategy, honestly. And so I think that's normal for myself as well. Um, I absolutely am obsessed with the work that I do. I love my hours within my business. I love coaching my clients. I love sitting behind the computer, supporting my business in all the ways. And because of that, I have a tendency to deprioritize my own workouts. And it's crazy because like I love working out. And yet, even for someone like me who, and you, right? It's like, it's a huge part of the work that we do. It's so normal to either not prioritize it high enough up on the list and then therefore struggle with the motivation to stay consistent because there's a lot of days I would rather work in my business and work with my clients than be doing my own Bulgarian split squats. And so the thing for me is really like what I'm working with myself and my clients as well is helping them to really cultivate those skills to keep yourself accountable. And something I really has been illuminated for me lately when we talk about goal setting and focusing outward into the future and in terms of what you want to achieve for yourself, there's something to be said for having goals and writing them down. Absolutely. The quote that we all hear is writing down your goals helps you to actualize them by as much as 42%. But the truth is, the real skill that's needed is in this very moment, becoming the person who actually follows through on those things so that you do get to the goal.
Mm.
And that's really the crux of it, I think, for me, for my clients, and for every celebrity, because most people, the vast majority of people, are not going to have a trainer show up at their house at 7:30 in the morning when it's time to work out. And so therefore, it's really cultivating the skills, the real skill, so that you don't have to have motivation to show up. It's just something that you do. I wish I could say I've cracked the code. I haven't, because I think it's in practice for all of us, because again, it's just a human issue, right?
It's funny. I forgot to mention I did a weight loss part 1 and 2 episode, and I had been going to gyms, and then the pandemic happened, and kind of right. I got some adjustable weights, and I started watching like YouTube videos, and then I had your glutes project and some, your package of things, and so I kind of got used to just like doing that, and then after a while, I was like, why did I belong to a gym? I will say the only thing would be, and we have it in the garage, but like the heavy leg press kind of,
Yeah.
those kind of machines like absolutely gym worthy
Yeah.
or home gym worthy. But just in general, like for the most of the things you need to do. And I was like, oh my gosh, like I can't believe that. Like some of you could save so much money. And I get going to the gym and having that be a place like now I'm here and I'm going to do this and whatever works for you. What I want to jump into right now, and then I want to get into some body composition talk, and what's so important about it. But You have a great program. And one of the things, if you're listening and you're struggling with anything, an autoimmune disorder, you haven't yet gotten to great thyroid balance, and you want to work out, but you know it's bad for your adrenals and it's bad for this thyroid journey, and it makes you take steps backwards, but you're like, I know, but I feel like I have to do something. And I'm always coaching people to go, hey, look, do the dumbest thing possible, walk for 30 minutes at like 3.0 and like do dumb weights for, right? Just like,
Mhm.
let's do some dumb things that just get you moving and stretching, but you're not building muscle and you're definitely not burning fat when you're
Mhm.
seriously hypothyroid. So tell us a little, because you created this, it's so, and you empathize. So please tell us about your personally like empathetic program for
Oh
people.
gosh. Yeah. So when I was in the thick of it, before I kind of got a clear diagnosis and resolution, the thing that I was noticing the most was very handicapped exercise tolerance. And I would have days where doing something dumb, like you said, walking on the treadmill at 3.0 for 30 minutes would literally set me back for days. My exercise tolerance was so low, not because of my fitness level. But what I really learned was it's the inflammation relationship. And so exercise, one of the reasons why exercise is so valuable is because it causes inflammation. And when your body heals from that, we build up a management system to better tolerate inflammation. And if you are dealing with any kind of thyroid dysfunction or autoimmune disorder, inflammation is your enemy. And so it really becomes about learning how to manage the right level, the right amount, and the right kind of inflammation and or stress that activity is causing your body. So you absolutely have to be exercising if you want to feel better. We all do. It only gets worse from midlife and beyond. And so on the one hand, it's so important to do these, as you said, like dumb exercises, just be active, do the bare minimum to keep yourself moving, and be very aware of the times and the opportunities when you are able to do a little bit more. I am particularly passionate about strength training. We all need to be building our strength. Now, building muscle is different than building strength, and a lot of people don't really ever stop to think about it. You can build strength without building bigger muscles, and you can actually even build larger muscles without necessarily getting significantly stronger. They're not necessarily related, although they are correlated. So I am a proponent of slowly, gradually, with a low intensity approach, building strength, especially for women. It reduces our risk of injury in the future. It improves bone density in the here and now and in the future. And it improves your energy and your mood, which are two things so many people are struggling with when there's thyroid dysfunction. Energy and mood. Those are the two biggest things for me. So when I was in the thick of this and really in the figuring it out from the perspective of my own body, but so that I could crack the code on exercise for people like me, what I discovered is that certain exercise, certain types of exercise, and in particular strength exercises, create more stress on your central nervous system. And they then require more recovery than other exercises. I went down the rabbit hole on what are the exercises that just really wipe me out and cause me to need 3 or 4 or 5 days of recovery. And why is it when I do a hip thrust, I don't need any recovery? Why is it bicep curls rarely make me sore, but a deadlift at even a very lightweight load sets me back for 10 days? And what I discovered is the exercises in particular that load your muscle in a stretched position where the maximal load of the exercise is when your largest muscles are in a stretched position, create the most central nervous system stress. And those are the
In a
exercises:
deadlift.
a deadlift, an
Right.
RDL, a walking lunge, a Bulgarian split squat, a good morning, to some degree, a barbell back squat, to some degree, a bench press. But not a lat pull down, not a bicep curl, not a lateral raise. The exercises where the greatest load is on the muscle when the muscle is in its shortest position, it's shortened, tend to not stress or quote unquote damage the muscle quite as much as those other exercises. So I had this aha and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm going to create an abbreviated strength and conditioning program that features, for the most part, only those exercises that don't require so much recovery. And I incubated this for a number of years before I really put it together. So I finally put it together. Oh my gosh. Like earlier this year, I call it Strength Without Stress. It's a 4-week strength training plan and it's specifically for people. Oh, by the way, it's free. So don't think I'm trying to sell something here. It's my gift to the world because I love it so much. And I'll share that information with you, but it's a 4-week program that's actually built for the person who's like, I am so wiped out with symptoms. I don't even know where to begin. And it's the place where you begin because it doesn't require so much recovery because it doesn't wipe you out, if that makes sense.
This is why I think everyone's listening and they're like, I see why she had her on the show. Yes, this is why you're an author and a coach. Makes so much sense the way you explain it. I
Yeah.
hope everyone, and that is an argument. The biggest problem when you're trying to recover and you've got adrenal fatigue, usually,
Yep.
right? And you've got hypothyroidism, you have no T3. So, you're struggling. And until you get to where you need to go naturally or through medication, all you're doing is kicking your own ass every time you work out. And it mentally feels better. But here's the one that I ask everyone, Holly. I say, so a couple hours after you work out, do you feel like energized and like you're tighter, or do you feel a little bit fatter around the middle and kind of bloated and exhausted? And they're like, yeah, the second one. I'm like, yeah, I know, because that's all you did was blast your adrenals. You know what I mean? Trying to get ahead of the weight gain, trying to get ahead. And what we're both here to tell you is that if you're that person, then being chill is the way to lose weight quicker. Like, how quickly do you want to get better? And that is the way, even though it's counterintuitive, right? But you're trying to apply, let's say it's HIIT or one of these crazy things. You're trying to apply a fat burning modality on a body that does not have the ability to do it metabolically. And therefore, what a disaster. So I'm so glad you created this because you need it mentally, right? But you need just light and or not. And how fascinating that you found that out too, the different positions, because someone might say, well, I love doing deadlifts. I'll just do a few of them. You know what I mean? But maybe now they're like, okay, let's take a look at the physiology here.
Absolutely. And, really what it comes down to is it's like intensity and inflammation. Those are the two things you have to be keeping an eye on. And if you can get a handle on that, you can become better or more fit or more conditioned if you're keeping an eye on those things so that it's not making you worse. And I love your kind of telltale sign checklist. I agree. 2 or 3 or 4 hours after your workout, it should make you feel better. It should only make you feel awesome. And if it's not, you're doing the wrong workout. And it's usually because the intensity is too high, regardless of what you think your intensity should be. I've had so many clients come to me and they're like, but I only did 3 sets of body weight squats for 15 reps. And I'm like, well, if that's wiping you out, that's too much. And I know your logical brain can't understand it, but your body does. And we have to work with where your body is so that we're facilitating something better instead of taxing it.
So perfectly said. Let's jump right into, I'd like to start off with I think the best argument for lifting weights, other than body composition, how it looks visually and strength and mobility and all that stuff, is the notion of organ reserve. If you're not challenging, right? Like the whole concept that Mark Sisson always talks about, I love it. He's like, look, the person never really died. It's not the broken hip. It's the broken hip because, well, first of all, they weren't flexible enough and they tripped over in the middle of the night, couldn't catch themselves. So there you go there. But once they got to the hospital, they never challenged their lungs. They don't die. They die of pneumonia, not the broken hip, right? the muscles, the bone density, like you mentioned, if you're not challenging. So just get into that and implore everyone because first of all, you're a celebrity fitness trainer. Go look at Holly. Holly's not going to be Miss Olympia. Okay. So if you're afraid of getting buff, which hopefully that's debunked by now, I mean, you're going to
Mhm.
burn more fat lifting weights than you will doing cardio. But
Mhm.
can you get in there and convince us all how badly we need it?
The strength training in general, you mean?
Yeah, just the importance of why that's the way to go versus because I think too, if people knew that like, hey man, you can do less cardio and like
Oh,
just
yeah.
do some of these weights and then right, it's
Oh,
like,
yeah. And I would argue like cardio is the worst thing to do. If you're
yeah, thank you.
struggling with thyroid issues or hypothyroidism or fatigue or any of that, you got to be really, really careful with cardio. And um,
But even if
cardio
you're
has
not, I'm
its
just talking to everyone now, like just in general, like the cardio junkies on the treadmill, and it's like, God, that's
correct.
stressful and hard. Like it's not fun anyway.
Totally. Yeah, exactly. And listen, cardio is important. It's got benefits, but you have to be very specific with it. And what I say is this applies to specifically cardio workouts and or strength workouts. The point of a workout is not to burn calories or burn fat. That is not the point of a workout. The point of a workout is to stimulate your body, your muscles, your bones, your cardiovascular system, your cardiorespiratory system, whatever it may be, to stimulate the body in a measured way so that when you recover, it becomes better. The whole point of a workout isn't to get more fit or to get more lean or to lose weight or to get skinny. It's to set you up so that you're better tomorrow. And so if you start to think of it that way, most people who, let's say, are struggling in any way with some health issues, a HIIT workout is the worst idea because a HIIT workout, really the benefits of it, absolutely, it can promote athleticism and your fitness level in general. But most people these days are doing it because it's a high calorie, high fat burning workout. And that really doesn't do you much good if your system is already struggling. Like you said, whether it's adrenal insufficiency or adrenal fatigue or hormonal issues or imbalances because of thyroid issues, it backfires. And so the best thing you can do ultimately at the end of the day, if a person, I look at it two ways. I mean, for the most part, my community and my conversation is all about being better tomorrow. I want you to be strong. I want you to feel amazing. I want you to have energy. I want you to have great quality of the years ahead instead of just longevity. I want you to live well in those years ahead. I'd rather give up a few years if it means the years that I have, I feel awesome. So within that, my conversation's a little less about weight loss. It's a little less about losing weight and burning fat. That being said, nonetheless, by focusing on your body composition and more specifically, focusing on improving the quality of your muscle and or the muscle mass volume that you have, it's so much easier to become more muscle and less fat if releasing body fat is important for you or if getting to a lower number on the scale is important for you. But rather than approaching your programming from, I need a workout to burn calories and burn fat so I lose weight, I flip it and I say, no, let's have a workout program that helps you improve your muscle quality and muscle mass because then it is going to do the job for you while you're sleeping. That improves your hormones. It improves your energy. It improves your bone density. It improves your resilience. It reduces your risk of injury, all of those things. It improves adrenal function if you do it the right way. And so my kind of first stop in terms of how I guide my clients and coaching programs is first and foremost, let's get some facts on your body composition, not your body weight, right? Now, we do need to know what your body weight is to know what your body composition is, but it's not even really about the weight. It's what percentage of your current body size is muscle and what percentage is body fat. If we first get some facts through either a DEXA scan or possibly maybe an in-body scan or a bod pod measurement, the first stop is what do we need to do to get you to 70% lean muscle? I don't talk about body fat anymore in my community. We don't talk about body fat percentage. We talk about what's your percentage of lean muscle mass. And if we can first get you to 70%, you're going to be a whole lot better with the long-term goal of getting to 77 or 78% lean muscle mass instead. And it's going to serve you so much more because instead of looking at your workout, as I said, as like, I need to go do a HIIT workout to burn fat and lose weight. Now it's more like I need to adopt a workout program so that I become more lean muscle mass. It's a whole different way of approaching it.
Question, when you're looking at like, so you know how you have like the body fat percentage scales and
Yes.
that.
Yep.
So there's like the body fat percentage, there's muscle rate, right? But then there is like skeletal muscle and muscle
Yep.
mass. Are you talking about
BMD.
muscle mass?
So here's how I do it. And this is to make the conversation simple.
Yeah.
So people don't check out. And I also do it this way to level the playing field. So when a person goes for a body composition screening, it's always going to kick out first your body fat percentage. That is how that's the most important data point of these reports is your body fat percentage. Our country, our world is obsessed with body fat, which I think is ridiculous because it's the least amount of you. It's the smaller percentage. You've got a lot more muscle than you do body fat for the most part, unless you're very, 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 very overweight or, obese. Most people have more muscle than they do body fat. So these body composition screenings will always say, here's your body fat percentage. Then what they will do is they will tell you your BMD, BMC, bone mineral content. They're not going to tell you your density unless you're getting a bone density, specifically a report for bone mineral density. But it's going to say how much of your weight is bone. And that's anywhere between 2 and maybe 6 pounds for most women, most average women, 2 and 6 pounds. And then the rest of your body, for the most part, is lean muscle mass. It's muscle mass. Okay, skeletal muscle is what we're looking at. To simplify the conversation, what I do, and I find this is just easy for people to understand the concept. You get your in-body screening or your DEXA scan for body composition, and it's going to say you're 33% body fat. I simply take 100% minus your body fat percentage to give me your lean muscle mass percentage. Now, that is actually not accurate, but it's just an easy way to say 100% of your body weight minus your body fat is what you are in muscle. And that number, I want people to get up to 70% lean muscle mass. And again, I realize this isn't totally factual and actual, but it's okay because most people aren't going to sit down and look at like exactly what is smooth muscle tissue, what is skeletal muscle tissue, what is my bone mineral content, my BMC, the weight of my bone versus the weight of my body versus my body fat percentage. Most people mentally check out, and I want to be able to help as many people as possible. So the simplest way is just to say 100% of your body weight minus your body fat percentage gives us your percentage of muscle. We want that to be at least 70%. Does that make sense?
Love it. Love it. Thanks for that brief little quick tutorial. Another new way to kind of look at something.
Yeah.
Getting away from focusing on the fat. Okay. Tell us all of the ways, because we talked about your free program, but also you have lots of other things to offer as well as, personal coaching and a program. Tell us, and we can go to hollyperkins.com. Tell us how we can work with you. People listening are like, okay, I need to get on the train. Help me, Holly.
Yeah, the first thing, I think the best thing is to subscribe to and listen to my podcast because it's going to help you understand if we are a fit, if my conversation is right for you. Definitely, there are a lot of parallels between our two podcasts. We talk the same conversation. So come to hollyperkins.com/podcast, and it's going to give you the information about my podcast, the Holly Perkins Health Podcast. That's a mouthful. And certainly you can find my podcast on all listening platforms. That's the first way, is just listen in, see if what I talk about resonates with your goals, with your ideologies, with what you want to do. Then the next step is, if you listen to my podcast and post a review, you can come to my website, hollyperkins.com/review, upload a screenshot of your review, and you'll get immediate, totally free access to Strength Without Stress. That's the 4-week strength training program that I talked about that is perfect for people who have adrenal insufficiencies, adrenal fatigue, hypothyroidism, autoimmune disorders, Hashimoto's, anything where you're just in the struggle. My Strength Without Stress program is perfect because it gets you strength training, but it doesn't cause soreness. It doesn't cause extended recovery. You'll recover from it. You'll feel good. It's going to get you feeling great as fast as possible so that we can get you on the path to then becoming more resilient. And then beyond that, those are 2 great resources. And then reach out to me if you're like, I want to be a part of one of your coaching programs. I want to go into a relationship where we're actually working on improving your body composition. You can reach me via email or through my website. Right now I'm in session for my group coaching program called the Body Composition Project, but we will be opening up again in March of 2025.
Love it. Thank you so much for all of the work that you do. Everyone get to her website and just soak it all up and listen to that podcast. Anything else you'd like to leave with our audience today?
I don't think so. I think, just from personal experience, the sweet spot for me was finding a physical activity program that supported me so that I could feel as good as possible, while I also found those health professionals to help me in the medical conversation. And Elle, you were one of those people for me early on when I was like, WTF is going on with my body. You were so helpful and so supportive and was part of my health journey. So I just encourage people. It's like, if that requires medication, if that requires a number of health professionals or doctors, seek it out, because I think I waited too long trying to do it through lifestyle modification when I really just needed some medication to get me out of the worst of it. And then I was able to slowly get back to natural ways of being optimal. And I wish that I wouldn't have waited so long to seek out more help.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, please don't wait. Obviously, you're listening to the podcast and you even found me. You're on that path, and perseverance pays, right?
Yeah,
Gosh,
it does.
does it pay? You just keep searching, you keep looking, keep testing, do what you got to do.
Yep.
No one cares more about your health than you, right? So thank you so much for the wisdom, and for everyone else, we'll see you next week. Hey, thanks for listening. If you enjoyed this show, I would so appreciate you leaving a review on Apple or Spotify or wherever you get your podcasts. And to learn more about partner discounts on amazing products, visit elleruss.com/discounts.